All right, so now we're going to talk about the top 10 tips for getting the most out of going to a memoir writing workshop. So I'm Sydney Brown, and this is part of the I Remember When training. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the Aspiring Writers group or in the comments below. If you're not already part of the I Remember When project, the information will be in the description. You're welcome to sign up, and we will let you jump in at any point. It is not on a specific schedule. You do it at your own pace. But you're welcome to this training for free, absolutely. And let's get started. The top 10 tips for getting the most out of memoir writing workshops. Number one, come prepared. You're going in there knowing that it's a writing workshop. So always come to the workshops with a piece of something you've written that you're willing to share. People will, instead of, hi, I'm Sydney, I'm a chocolate addict or something, you don't, that's your introduction. It's basically, hi, I'm Sydney, and here's a little something that I wrote. You can do it in different ways. It depends on how big the group is as well, but just make sure you come prepared with something. I would suggest at least 500 words, but depending on what it is you're writing, if it's a memoir, then maybe a daily entry, just something so that we can make sure that it's kind of, this is where you're at right now. We'll know if you're here. But it's a great way for us to not spend a lot of time trying to figure out what you know and what you don't know. Number two, be open. Come with as an open book, open mind, and be willing to hear and accept and digest feedback, because that feedback will improve your mindset, your work, everything, and it will potentially improve your entire life. Number three, actively participate. This is something that maybe your very first time you might feel a little bit paranoid and you don't want to say something that sounds stupid or whatever. Don't worry about that, because everybody shows up the first time at some point. And don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to engage in conversations, to share your opinion, to ask the questions, because that's what we need to get the synergy started. Number four, respectful critique. And this is very important. If you're taking the critique, you're expected to hear what they say and not be defensive, and not take it as a personal attack, but take it as something that someone's trying to help you get better. Now, just like you may have to learn to take feedback, there is also the fact that you will have to learn how to give the feedback. So if your mind thinks, wow, that sucked, you're not going to say that. Maybe if it was just you and your BFF in a room together, you might be able to say something like that and not just totally shatter them. But if you're in a workshop, make sure that you focus on being respectful, not saying anything to hurt them, but not sugarcoating necessarily, because they do need to hear what the real feedback is. So when you're critiquing other people's work, just be respectful and constructive. One of the things that I sometimes say is, can I give you my opinion? When you ask that first, they have to say yes, because no one wants to feel attacked, and no one wants to attack. But the person, if they're like, no, I don't know, then don't hold your opinion. But if they say yes, then say, to me, it kind of felt like this. Maybe you're going to say it just kind of felt a little flat. I feel like this could have been so much more emotional if you had done some dialogue and if you had moved the story forward with action. If you say something like that, they don't feel like you're saying it sucks. They're saying, I get the emotion, but I didn't quite feel it. So I'm wondering if. And when you pose it like that, you're not judging them. You're saying, let's see what we can do to make it even stronger. So just as important as getting constructive criticism, you have to learn how to give it in situations like this. Number 5, network. This is an opportunity to connect with other writers. You may get into anthology projects with them. Anthology projects, if you don't know, is when more than one writer team up to share either by chapter or by page or however they choose to collectively publish a book together. And, a lot of times those are a great way to get started into the publishing world. But networking is very important, not only for business benefit, but also just because, you found someone who has the similar interest as you. They want to share their stories. They want to have their life matter. They want to make an impact. And not everybody is at that same place in their life and their journey. So when you find the people who are, you need to grab onto them and hang out with them, because you will strengthen each other. You will motivate each other, and your vibe attracts your tribe. So number 6, apply learning. And by this, I mean, when you learn something, let's say that we're talking about memory dumping, or something like that, where you were doing an exercise and we're talking about, okay, in my teen years, what all happened, and you just start writing all the things that happened in your teen years. Okay, and then in my childhood years, what happened in my childhood years. And when you look around and you see where are your stories, how can you build a successful, doing that kind of an exercise in a group. You may not have the time to really dig in deeply enough, but you realize this is going to be super helpful. And by doing that, when you get back home or you leave the meeting, whatever the case is, then you apply that learning and use it throughout your whole life. You have literally mapped out your entire life, and you're able to see, where are my stories? That story, that story, that story. Those are the stories that I want to focus on. And it's just by applying the learning that you get in each workshop, it huge benefit, because a lot of the times people learn things, but then they don't do them. And that, that's not so helpful. Number 7, ask questions. You need to be, don't be afraid to use your voice. Don't be afraid to raise your hand. Don't be afraid to lean in and ask the questions. Clarify anything that you're not sure about. You may be thinking, I think they said this, but that doesn't make sense. Did you say this, that, the other? Because I don't know how that would benefit. And then, the person can say, oh, no. What I meant was, and they can clarify whatever questions you have. If you don't ask the question, you'll never get the clarity. You can't count on somebody else asking the question for you. You should not. I know that a lot of us, in at least my generation, a lot of us thought we had to be quiet and polite and submissive, and we had to wait for someone else to ask the questions. And we went through years of not knowing things that we could have known if we had just been bold enough to say, excuse me, I have a question. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. You should ask them every day. Every day, ask a question. Number 8, share experiences. Sharing your writing experiences can help you. It can help you, because sometimes when you say something, even though it's your experience, when you share it with others, you get even more clarity. And it also can, if it's something that you went through that was tough, it can take the power away from whoever hurt you. It can make you stronger and more empowered. And it can absolutely help other people who are going through similar struggles. So whether it's, sharing your story that you're writing about, or if it's sharing your progress in your journey of writing, whatever it is, share your experiences, listen to other people share theirs as well. That it will create a relationship that could breed, a lot of new BFFs. Having best friends with similar interest, you would be amazed at how you would walk out of a workshop and just feel like you met your best friend or your spirit animal or whatever. It's a great thing. Number 9, stay positive. It can happen that someone is showed up and they're just negative as can be, and they're not feeling it, they're not having it, they got something to bitch about every single thing. So those people just exist. Why do they show up at these places? You may wonder, why do you come and you poison everybody else around you? Think about it. Why did they show up? They don't want to be like that. That may be who they are. It may be who they are naturally, but they're there because they're trying. They're showing up because they want to do something better. They want to be someone better. So send them some grace. Let the negativity go in one ear, out the other. Be positive in exchange. Share your positivity with the people, especially who are not positive, because they're either self-conscious, they may have some self-confidence issues, they may have fear. There's so many emotions that may be in that person who's negative. And this is just a life tip, not just workshops, but you may wonder, why are you here if all you're going to do is bitch and moan? But think about it. They don't want to be like that. They don't know. They haven't been exposed to good positivity yet, at least not consistently and not enough. So help fix that problem, and don't feed on their negativity. Don't let them poison you. Let you poison them with love. I feel like I'm giving you flowers now. I don't want to be like overly mushy. I'm actually quite a sarcastic person, but it's so important not to judge people for where they are today, because if you were judged where you were at your ugliest points, where would you be now? Someone has to stop judging and to start loving. Number 10, before I get all mushy, reflect. When you're there, just reflect. So think about, what's going on, look around, notice, absorb, so you can remember what happened. And when you're home afterwards, reflect on it. Remember the experience, remember what you learned. And then if you didn't take good enough notes while you were there, because you may have been busy doing instead of taking notes, then if it's something that you could watch a replay of, that's great. But if not, just reflect and, journal and take notes after in your writing journal, which I know that you have if you're in the I Remember When project, because you've already taken that class, right? So just reflect, figure out what you can benefit most from your experience, and implement. All right. So there you have it. I really hope that this has helped, and I hope that you will, if you're in the I Remember When, that you will show up to each of the, I'm going to call them monthly, but they may not be on exactly every month. But I hope that you show up for the workshops. I hope you enjoy. I hope you maximize every moment that you have with other people who have the same interests. And with that, keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep writing. All right, I'll see you in the next videos.